Welcome inside Gillette Stadium, everybody. My name is Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist for WEEI.com, Christopher Price, after quite an unusual night here at Gillette Stadium. It started off with a couple of absences we weren't expecting, a couple of news stories breaking. We thought Alan Branch sitting out this game, being suspended reportedly for some team club violation, would be the big story. Then about an hour later, we find out that Tom Brady, who was supposed to start this game against the Chicago Bears, did not. The report was from Tommy Curran of CSNNE that he cut his right thumb open with a pair of scissors, and that he was unavailable. He left in civilian clothes, was not here for the game itself, which turned out to be a 23-22 Patriots win. So Tom Brady did not make his preseason debut tonight. Jimmy Garoppolo did. First of all, Chris, after the game, Bill Belichick insisted it was his decision not to play Tom Brady tonight. What do you make of that?
There are a million possible conspiracy theories out there when you're talking about this, and as we've discussed on several occasions before, there are no coincidences around Gillette Stadium. Right. When you put that with the fact that Bill Belichick loves throwing curveballs at his own team in the preseason to see how they respond to certain situations, it's intriguing. Let's just put it that way. I wonder why the quarterback is using scissors, before a preseason game, but that's a whole nother matter entirely. I thought that the team responded relatively well. There was the slow start. Jimmy talked about the slow start tonight. They had the 3-and-out right out of the gate. They were able to get a couple of good defensive stands. They were able to get rolling. They developed a really nice rhythm. They put the ball in the end zone twice while Garoppolo was at quarterback playing 2+ quarters. But in terms of Brady's injury, how all that kind of comes together, there's still more questions than answers, at least at this point. The
Monday morning quarterbacking is going on in the preseason, and it's not going to be about who won and who lost. It's going to be about what is it with Tom Brady and the Patriots and Bill Belichick? Who's in control? There's going to be all of this speculation. Did he run out of here having a temper tantrum because Belichick didn't want to play him in a preseason game and they made up this story? Look, we are to believe that Don Yee texted several people in the Patriots media that it's nothing serious. He should return in time and be fine. So we'll take it at face value. Tom Brady cuts his right thumb on his throwing hand with a pair of scissors before the game. Jimmy Garoppolo starts, goes 16 of 21, as you mentioned, 181 yards, no interceptions, and a beautiful touchdown pass, I thought. He threaded the needle in the end zone to A.J. Derby, another star of this win tonight for the Patriots.
We talked about this last week, and I wrote about this in both Bill and Jimmy brought this up in their post-game press conferences. It's all about good complementary football. When you're talking about making sure Garoppolo has success, it's all about good complementary football. You have to get a good performance from your defense. You have to get some turnovers. You have to get good work from your special teams. And you have to get good work from your offensive difference makers. It all came together for the Patriots tonight, especially in the second quarter. I thought LeGarrette Blount had a very good evening, almost a polar opposite from what he showed in the first preseason game where he wasn't very good at all. I thought A.J. Derby really showed something and really injected himself into the conversation when you're talking about that third tight end position. I also think Cyrus Jones made a nice interception. Brian Hoyer fundamentally threw the ball right at him, but I thought, it said something about him. He made the play. He also made the play deep in Chicago territory. It set up the Patriots offense in an advantageous position for another score. It all came together. I think your 2 points are very well taken, specific to Garoppolo. He did not turn the ball over for the second straight week. That's very, very important. He did a good job taking care of the football. And then the second thing was he was able to get some good complementary football. The running game was able to work. It all came together very, very nicely for the quarterback today. And the other thing, too, again, like you said, no sacks. That was the other thing that all figures into it here. All he has to do is be a good game manager. And I thought, with the exception of that first drive, I thought Jimmy Garoppolo was a very good game manager tonight.
What really stuck out for Jimmy Garoppolo, and Garoppolo talked about this when I asked him about the 2-minute warning. It's very important to get situational football in if you play for Bill Belichick. He executed very well. Belichick noted that in his press conference, that the 2-minute drive before halftime, very, very important to get points.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, we'll talk about it. People and critics, you can go back and forth with people on Twitter. They'll say, well, it doesn't really mean anything.
Does that happen?
Yeah, no, yeah. You go back and forth with people on Twitter where they'll say, well, it doesn't mean anything because the Chicago 2s and 3s were out there. A guy executes in the preseason. I think that's a check mark in his favor. The danger comes when you really try and use that as a barometer for future success. Look, all he was able to do, he was able to execute in a very important situation. Like you said, good situational football by the offense in that instance. And I thought that's certainly a check mark in his favor. Can he continue to build on that? Can he continue to bring that forward? Can he improve next week against the Panthers? Can he show even more than he showed over the first 2 weeks? That's the goal for Garoppolo going forward.
Last week we talked about Trey Flowers along the defensive line. This week it has to be Anthony Johnson. He is someone Bill Belichick said when they went to visit him the last time before this offseason. He said, do we have the right guy? I mean, I don't recognize this guy. He's lost so much weight. 30 to 35 pounds, Anthony Johnson said in the locker room that he lost. He doesn't have the power, but that you would think that a massive defensive tackle would, but he showed some push tonight, and Anthony Johnson certainly puts himself in the mix for a depth spot along the defensive line with the way he played tonight.
Active, disruptive, and he looked comfortable running with what appeared to be a reasonable facsimile of ones and twos over the course of the evening. Again, that's another case of a guy who did well, who was able to execute. Now you want to put more on his plate going forward. You want to be able to see if, at least in the short term, maybe he can take some snaps away from the likes of Allen Bridge. Maybe if he can, again, like you said, be a part of that rotation on a consistent basis. All you got to do at this stage of your career, if you're a guy like Anthony Johnson, is continue to show up, is continue to play good, consistent football. He did tonight. It's a great starting point for the youngster.
And another area of improvement tonight, the special teams. Everybody made a lot, and I think deservedly so, of Scotty O'Brien, the former special teams coach, being at practice several times this week, the joint practices. The special teams covered much, much better, Chris.
They really did, and across the board. The kick coverage, the punt coverage. Gostkowski was able to convert on his field goal chances and his extra point chances. It was a good night all around. Again, hearkening back to what we were talking about before, about good complementary football. They were able to play really good complementary football tonight in all three phases of the game, special teams included.
Steve Gostkowski, 5 for 5 in field goals so far here in the preseason. A very good start here as the Patriots get ready for the season opener September 11th in Arizona. The Patriots have 2 more preseason games. That'll be next Thursday night in Charlotte against the Panthers, the defending NFC representative in the Super Bowl. And they'll, of course, wrap it up with their annual preseason finale against the Giants, this time at MetLife Stadium on September 1st. A lot of football to catch you up on between then and now. You can catch all the coverage on WEEI.com, the It Is What It Is blog. Of course, Christopher Price, Ryan Hannibal, and yours truly will have you covered. Be sure to follow us on Facebook /WEEI and Twitter at twitter.com/WEEI for all of your Patriots updates. Inside Gillette Stadium, following a 23-22 Patriots win, he's Christopher Price. I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.